Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Kate Middleton with today's Daily Comedy News. Weird one today. The stories are all over the place. Let's start with this one. Amy Schumer kept her uterus. Did I wake you up yet? Yeah. Amy Schumer kept her uterus as a souvenir after having it surgically removed. She was on the Smartless podcast and told the gang, Jason asked me one time, like very rudely, because I actually had my uterus removed, and he was like, did you save it? And I was like, I actually did save it. I had it bronzed, because of how difficult my pregnancy was. I didn't even think of this, but I get the chance to show this to you. Thank you, Amy, for sharing. The iHeart Podcast Awards came out. I won't give you the whole list, but for Best Comedy, the winners, This Is Important. And I was like, which one is that again? That's the one with Adam Devine and Anders Holm, Blake Anderson, and Kyle Newacek. You know those guys from... brain fart, Workaholics. That's where you know them from. So that is the Best Comedy Podcast. Also of note, the Best Sports Podcast, Club Shay Shay. That's the one Katt Williams went on. We'll be talking about that in a second because all the stories kind of come together today. Let's start with John Cena. And as pointed out by itrwrestling.com, your home for comedy news, some people think, perhaps, possibly, maybe, John Cena appearing naked on the Oscars was some sort of hazing ritual. You may recall Katt Williams in recent interviews kind of hinted that people wearing dresses is a hazing ritual in Hollywood, and some people think John Cena being naked is part of the, all right, you want to be in the Hollywood club, we're going to humiliate you. I think it was the 50th anniversary of the original Streaker, and John Cena's got a really cut body, and he likes doing outrageous humor, and he went, sure, I'll do it. I didn't like the bit at all, but I don't think there's a conspiracy here, and I like conspiracies. Shannon Sharpe, host of Club Shay Shay, was speaking with Chad Ochocinco Johnson, the former NFL player, and he revealed he made more money on the Katt Williams interview than he made in any year he played in the NFL. Think about that, Shannon said. Everybody was talking about how much money I made doing the Katt Williams interview. I just got the check. So if you think I made $500,000, 3x it. If you think I made $1 million, 3x it. If you think I made $2 million, 3x it. I made more money on Katt Williams alone than I made in any year that I played in the NFL. So I was curious, and I'm on sporttrack.com. In 2000, Shannon made $5 million, according to this website. Hey, Katt, you want to come on my podcast, you coward? I bet you're afraid to come on here. You don't dare come on my podcast, Katt Williams, you wuss. Also, Joe Rogan has yet to accept my challenge to fight in the octagon. Joe, are you a wussy as well? I will fight Joe Rogan and Katt Williams. 2-on-1. Are you guys cowards? Bring it. I had missed this on Monday night. Justin Timberlake opened up Jimmy Kimmel's show saying he was guest hosting. Kimmel then emerged and started listing off his favorite moments from the Academy Awards. Kimmel started talking about the John Cena bit and said, getting this on the air, of all the times I've hosted the Oscars or the Emmys or anything, no comedy bit has ever received more scrutiny than this. There were meetings and site meetings, emails and texts and phone calls and people sweating. Somebody was crying. Then once they realized we weren't going to take no for an answer, there was an intense discussion about the envelope. Then Kimmel showed the envelope that the suits wanted Cena to use, which was the size of a shoebox. Ultimately, they went with a smaller envelope. Kimmel said, I'd say congratulations, John Cena. The commotion you caused. Very rarely does an idea literally push the envelope. And this one did. He also discussed the Donald Trump moment toward the end of the show. I played that the other day for you. Kimmel said, it kind of tells you all you need to know about Donald Trump. He wrote this because he was upset I didn't mention him on the show. No one mentioned him on the show. He wasn't getting any attention. He couldn't stand it. And so then the Adderall McFlurry kicked in and he went right on. I wasn't planning to mention him at all. We were backstage. The show was almost over. And one of the other writers was like, hey, look at this. And a quote Al Pacino, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I had to read it. Jerry Seinfeld spoke with Empire magazine about the upcoming movie Pop-Tarts. Jerry said, do you remember the scene in The Right Stuff where Jeff Goldblum and Harry Shearer are running down the hall and they burst into the darkened boardroom? And they go, it's called Sputnik. That's what this movie is. We steal from everyone we could think of because we love movies. The other big influence, Mad Men. Jerry said, I'm obsessed with that show. That mixed with the dumbness of the cereal world, stuffy executives discussing tarts and flakes and frosting, just struck me as a fun world to be in. I always wanted to be an adult when I was a kid. I wanted to look like adults looked in the 60s, but by the time I got to be an adult, they didn't look like that anymore, so this was a chance to go back and do that look. Bowen Yang was on with Seth Meyers. They discussed the great sketch where Bowen made out with Sydney Sweeney. Yang told Seth, I got to tell you guys something. Like when you have a head injury and you can't see colors quite right? I feel like I got hit in the head by these two women, and I'm still straight. The other woman is Gina Gershon, who appears in the sketch. Bowen said, I think I understand why Austin Butler talked like Elvis for a while after the movie, so I think for a couple more weeks, I'm still straight. Ladies, get in there. Cheech and Chong surprise appearance at C-Boy's Heart and Soul. This happened during South by. Variety tells us C-Boy's Heart and Soul is an off-the-beaten-path Austin nightclub, and they hosted a brief reunion by Cheech and Chong. An audience member yelled out, Holy S! Chong picked up an acoustic guitar. Cheech cringed as it became clear the instrument was out of tune. Chong, who's now 85, wore a varsity sports jacket bedecked with marijuana leaf motifs and a Team 420 on the back. He swapped out the bad guitar for an electric that was ready. Cheech joked, oh, he's going electric. Chong hit some more notes. Cheech introduced what he described as a song of my people. The lyrics, as recapped by Variety, I won't attempt to sing them. I barely want to even do them with some sort of pattern. But Mexican Americans, every time I pause here is where there's a new line. So the lyrics are, Mexican Americans don't like to just get into gang fights. They like flowers and music, and white girls named Debbie too. Mexican Americans love education, and so they go to night school and take Spanish and get a B. Mexican Americans don't like to get up early, but they have to, so they do it real slow. Chong then picked up the song, says Variety, using a derogatory term for Mexicans that underscored the hollowness of racial and ethnic bigotry. Last night, they were going to have the world premiere of Cheech and Chong's last movie, which traces the pair's career and partnership that began in the 1970s. Moshe Kasher has a new book. This the follow-up to Kasher in the Rye. Love it. This one called Subculture Vulture, a memoir in 6 scenes. He spoke to WPR and said he once thought his stand-up career was the peak of a narcissist art form. Then he joked, then I found memoir. And that's even more. Delve into what I've been thinking about over the course of 300 pages. The new book is focused on 6 subcultures that he says forged him. The 6 are Alcoholics Anonymous, Hasidic Judaism, deafness and sign language. He is the child of deaf parents. Stand-up comedy, raves, and Burning Man. It was almost like a drug chase of trying to find outsiders that were like me, that would make me feel a little bit less different in the world. So I think that's some of the connective tissue. Something happened when I joined these worlds. They made me fall in love so hard. I wanted to own them. I didn't want to be a member of the rebellion. I wanted to be a Jedi Knight. From balleralert.com, which normally would be your home for comedy news, but I've used that joke already, Mike Epps has made a shocking revelation about his long-awaited Richard Pryor biopic. Buckle your pants for this one. He was on the All the Smoke podcast. According to Epps, it was Richard Pryor's widow, Jennifer Lee Pryor, who put a stop to the biopic back in 2014 when, all right, I'll quote him here, I was going to play Richard Pryor, man, and then his wife, I didn't screw his wife, his ex-wife, she got mad. Epps said when he refused her advances, Jennifer allegedly told the actor, you are not going to play Richard. You didn't spank this cleaning it up booty. I'm not sure that's a true anecdote. Lawyers will have to ask Mike Epps. The Detroit News caught up with Bill Burr, who's playing at big arenas. Burr said they're pretty nerve-wracking because you got to sell a bunch of tickets, but the shows are always great, and I'm always amazed how they figured out the sound at these bigger venues where you can take the audience on the same sort of ride you can at a comedy club where you can bring them down and you get them going up. I've been doing these arenas for a couple of years, and I'm used to it, but I'm not going to lie to you. You definitely have imposter syndrome when you first get in there, like, why all these people come to see me? So the fact that people are showing up, is amazing. And I don't take the responsibility of that lightly. You can't be doing shows and just be on cruise control. You got to make sure everybody gets their money's worth, so that's my big thing every night, which is funny, because people say, make sure you're taking it in. This is stand-up comedy. You can't take it in. If I start sitting back looking at the joke, my timing is off, and I immediately start bombing. I can reflect on it afterwards. Does that count? Kyle Mooney's got a new movie, Y2K. This premiered at South by. Y2K follows 2 high schoolers who crash a New Year's Eve party on the last night of 1999 when they realize the projected computer apocalypse is actually happening. Mooney had the idea for Y2K a few years back. He said, on New Year's Day 2019, after a night of celebrating with Evan and her friends, I texted Evan, there should be a movie about 2 kids going to party on Y2K and it goes bad. Evan Winter said, I woke up very hungover to this text. Mooney said, congratulations. One of the scenes takes place in a porta potty. We are told the stuff that you might think is stuff is not stuff. It's hot chocolate mixed with glycerin, and it smelled amazing. It's your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the show, you can buy me a coffee. You go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. You can become a member and have a recurring payment. You can join the $2 club. Some people do that, so it's just $2 a month. Winds up being $24 a year. You won't even miss it. If 1 million people do that, I'll get $24 million a year. Not too bad. It's not Shannon Sharpe money, but, it's not bad. Anyway, with your $5, I'll go to the national donut chain. I'll take out my app, and I'll be like, all right, large, iced coffee, caramel, milk. I'll order it. I'll check to make sure it's actually at the donut chain in my town and not the one across town. That's happened a couple of mornings. And then I'll walk in. I won't talk to anybody at all, and I'll just walk in and grab the cup and get back in the car and come home. It's an exciting life. See you tomorrow.